Hey guys, welcome to Coaching with Chris. I got to tell you, I woke up pumped up. In fact, I'm like, I was going to put on a black t shirt, a black ball cap so I could feel like I fit in. But I'm going to tell you about my next guest. My next guest, I met listening to him at a conference here in Scottsdale, followed him through, listened to him at Florida. And I'm like, I've got to create a relationship with him. I've got to learn more and I've got to be better. And I feel like whatever I got to do, this is my goal. I wrote it on my little piece of paper. We reached out, we went to Vegas for a day, and like it was the best experience I've ever had of being able to understand video, being able to understand editing, being able to understand AI. I left with so much knowledge. And I've got to tell you, listen, pay attention, write great notes. Neel, I'm excited to have you today on Coaching with Chris. How are you?
Good, man. I'm so pumped to be here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, your audio is always better than mine, and it just makes me mad. But
Well, that's one thing we can talk about. I just got just a microphone here. Nothing crazy, but
do you use that with your computer or your
yep, it
an
just
iPad?
plugs in it just plugs in USB, and that's I can fix something. Yeah, this is like $100 goes such a long way in terms of your audio quality. I mean, just imagine like if I'm talking like this, you guys can hear me. It's not, but when it's like this, it's quite a bit different. It's a big difference in how people listen, hear you, take you seriously, all that kind of thing. So these little things I think are like small differences that can make a big result.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Well, Neil, you kind of started from the beginning, which I don't know if most people know this, but like you're in the mortgage business,
Yeah.
and you've been in the mortgage business for like a long time. Like, what was your journey? How did you get mortgage?
Well, I think like a lot of us didn't nobody planned on getting in mortgage. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody who went to school and was like, yo, dude, I'm gonna be a loan officer when I grow up. Like,
Yeah.
I just was working at a bank and the mortgage business was going crazy. This is back in 2002, 2003.
Hmm.
Joined the industry. It was crazy, good, amazing. I was like in my 20s making all kinds of money, and then everything crashed, as you know, 2008. And my brother and I, we had a huge, office with a bunch of everybody quit. The company went bankrupt. We ended up, you know, just kind of muddling through that period. My brother and I, and from 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, just slowly rebuilding. And then from 12 onward, just kind of took off. But along the way, Chris, I was like just kind of burnt out on being in this industry. And I don't know if people watching or listening probably feel the same way. Like, you ever just wake up and you're like, man, I'm tired of doing the same shit. I'm just tired of this industry is it's a tough industry. We didn't pick an easy industry to be in, man. This is a tough nut to crack, and a lot of ups and downs, emotional roller coaster, if you will, with rates and market and everything we were going through back then. So all the different changes that we have to roll with. So at a certain point, I just got burnt out on asking for business and always chasing people. We did a lot of internet leads at the time, like we would do Zillow and co-marketing and doing a lot of SEO and all that. And I just got tired of people who were just kind of treat me like a vendor. There's like a commodity, like, oh, I could work with Neil, or I could work with anybody else. It didn't really matter. And so I felt like I was getting treated like that from my business partners. I felt like I was getting treated like that from customers as well. And nothing makes you feel worse than just kind of being discarded. Like, not really what's your value proposition and all that stuff. So what I did was I started to look on social media, like look on the internet at what are people doing in terms of video content. And this was kind of newish back in 2017, 2018. It wasn't new to the world, but it was new to like mortgage and real estate. And I noticed there wasn't that many people doing this, but I was a freaking nerd. Like, I didn't know how to do video. I didn't know how to jump on the camera and start
You
talking.
mean you weren't born with all these things?
No, man, I'm an introvert. So I'm like terrified of public speaking at that point. I was kind of the guy behind the scenes that would just get deals done. I knew mortgage like inside and out.
Mm.
But what I found out, Chris, is like it's not the best who makes the most money in mortgage, it's the best known.
Mm.
Visibility beats ability. So I would get mad, Chris, at like somebody in my market who I
Mm.
felt wasn't as good of a loan officer than as me. Like, they didn't know the game like I knew the game. I could solve deals. I could fix
Right.
I could do I know the guidelines, and I know all these programs, but they were making 10 times the money than I'm making. Why? Because they were more known, right? It doesn't matter, you can make up for a lot of things if you have a lot of leads and a lot of business coming in. You can build around you, you can have a team around you to help you. So anyways, like I was like, shit, I'm going to figure out a way to become more known. That's the most valuable part. How many people know all these great things about you? If you're a great law officer, but not enough people know it, you'll always be stuck. And I felt like I was on a treadmill, just running. As soon as I stopped calling these leads, as soon as I stopped doing it, my business stopped. And you're basically as good as last month's production. That's the sad part about this business. Like, what's your pipeline look like? It's not good. Well, you're worthless. Well, what about all my experience? What about all this knowledge I've acquired over the years, right?
Right.
So what I found was like people in our industry don't have a brand. Like you have a little bit of reputation with the people who've worked with you before.
Mhm.
That's not enough if you really want to go next level. Now, if you want to stay small and just make a reasonable living, that's fine. But I knew I was capable of much more than that. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna start doing this. Started posting videos in 2018 on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. These are cringe worthy videos. Like I can't, it's bad, Chris, if you can't even get through your own video. You're watching it back and you're like, holy shit, man, I can't. It's bad. If I can't watch it, nobody else is gonna watch it. So, but what was crazy about this was even with, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, my videos being a 3 or 4, I was getting more recognition in the marketplace. Like people would reach out to me more,
Mm.
partners, past clients. And so just with my little sphere, not that many people following me at this point, I was getting more business. And I was like, oh shit, I'm onto something. And so that's
But
what,
how many months? Like, I think this is one
yeah.
second. I want to make sure you answer this because, like, how many months or a year? Like, how long did it take to where you're like, oh, I'm starting to get recognized?
Well, in the beginning, it was like a few 2, 3 months of nothing. Maybe some people being nice and hearting up your video and
Sure.
leaving a nice
Your
comment.
mom, your
Yeah,
mom
my mom, my
responding.
sister, like, yeah, that's cool. But uh, from a business standpoint, it took about like 90 days before I started to see people like actually respond. And meanwhile, the crazy part about this is I was thinking about starting for a year and never post it. How many times you're thinking about doing something, but you just never do it because you're busy with the day to day, you got family, you got work and putting out fires for deals. Like you just never pull the trigger. So it wasn't as if like, it just started one day. Like I was thinking about it, finally just started doing it. And that's the hardest part with any of the stuff I teach people is like the first steps of doing it are the hardest, and then you think it's just going to gradually get easier. That's true.
Mm.
But after the first one, the difficulty level comes down quite a bit. It's not just like a little bit easier next time, a little bit easier. No, it's like boom, like once you've done it, and I think that's a misconception people have is that it's going to take a long time to get good at this. You'll get more comfortable with each time you do it, but
Right.
that first one is really important. So putting myself out there was important, and then I noticed it got a little bit easier, and I started to get more recognition from business partners. And then what I decided to do was like, hey, let me prove that this works. Let me get some business from my sphere, and then let me help educate my referral partners. So what I started doing was, hey, I'm not gonna say I'm the expert. I'm not a video expert. I'm not an influencer, but I have gone from A to B, and I can teach you how to go from A to B. So I started helping my agent partners, putting on little, lunch and learns and workshops on, hey, here's how you can use video to generate leads for free on social media. Here's how you can get more business from your database. Here's how you can send video campaigns to your database to get more. And so I started doing it first, prove like it works, lead by example. And then I started helping my business partners. And then I started getting more referrals from them. So what happened was in 18, 19, 20, every year my business kept growing exponentially, like 4x, 2x increase, and started just going from mid 6 figures to multiple 7 figures over 19, 20, 21, and even 22, which was a tough year. And so along this way, kind of just proved that this is working. And then what happened was I got better at it, built an audience,
Mhm.
and then people in the industry started reaching out and saying, hey, could you come speak at our thing? Teach us what you're doing. Can you help us here? Can you help us here? So I started speaking for both real estate and mortgage events to teach people, here's the concepts I'm learning. And then along the way of doing that, I got pretty good at teaching. And then so we founded Forward Academy, where we help, thousands of realtors and lenders mostly, I would say 60-40 lenders versus realtors do content better, like do it effectively.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, man, when I went back to the beginning, if I had someone like who had the blueprint who could just tell me what to do properly, I would have saved myself years. Now, I guess that was my journey. Like I can't like regret it, but I spent a few years just running in circles, not really getting much. I was getting a little bit, but I tried everything. I went to every conference. I went to everything. They told me, try this. I would do it 6 months, no result. Oh shit, let me try something else. And I would try all these new things and then figured out the plays that work. And now I'm just focused on here. Why don't we just teach people what actually works? So you don't have to waste freaking 2-3 years, running in circles.
Hmm. Yeah, be the experiment.
Yeah. So that was like, and then what I've also learned, and you're a big fan of this, like with coaching with Chris is important. And you know this, you've been in coaching, like learn from people who have done the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like if I want to get good at something, why don't I just join Chris's call and learn what he's doing and learn what the top people are doing and then implement? Like it's not that difficult if you get the right advice.
yeah,
Most people are just lost in the sauce, but if you can get the right advice, it's a lot easier.
yeah. Well, I want to dive into, giving some nuggets for loan officers today,
Yeah.
um, so that they can leave this call really thinking, okay, I got a few things that I can go implement. And I think the first thing is recognizing mistakes. Like my big theme of the week this right now is the missing ingredient. It's the
Yep.
story of my grandma forgetting the sugar in the chocolate pie. And it's amazing how bad a chocolate pie tastes without
No
sugar.
sugar. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us are missing some sugar or some ingredients to be able to like get the result. So if you've talked to tons of LOs, and I also want to end with what you're doing for the industry and how they can get involved, and your conference in July.
Yeah.
But top 3 to 5 mistakes that you see loan officers making today in your industry that could make an impact.
Yeah. So I think number one is you're not like the the information that you have, you're devaluing it. So you think it's boring. So you think, oh, I just helped this client fix their credit score, get approved, and close on a house. No big deal. I do this week in, week out, 52 weeks a year, and I've been doing this for 10 years, 20
Right.
years, some of us, right? No big deal. Well, to that family, Chris, it was a big deal. It changed that family's life. And I say that somebody's going to be, oh, it's cliche bullshit. What? No, no. Like the work that we do in this industry changes lives, and you need to give it that level of importance. So what I found I was doing was saying no for the audience. I'd be like, nobody's interested in this or that. It's boring. Who wants to learn about mortgage tips and buying a house? Well, it turns out a lot of people do. I had I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk. He was one of my favorite authors and influencers coming up. I got lucky enough to do a podcast with him back in 2019. It's on YouTube. And I asked him, hey, you know, what are the things loan officers should be doing? And he said, well, you need to be talking about all the things, all the ways that you help people, but then also broaden it out. So it can be about financial fitness. Everybody's interested in leveling up their credit, their money, their investments, their real estate game. Like people are just interested in this. So what happens is you become valuable to people who are not needing you right now. So I think that's the biggest mistake is
Mhm.
everybody wants to talk to people who are ready to transact in the next 30, 60 days. And I get it. That's how we make all our money. But I'm telling you, there is a massive market of people who are just a few steps away from working with you.
Right.
They just need to learn. They just need to get in the mode and they're not going to reach out to you and they're just going to be out there on the internet. And so, I think as an industry, if you said top, mistakes we're making, we're ignoring people who are higher up in the funnel. We're only talking to people at the bottom because we don't have the bandwidth and that's how we make our money. So what we need to do is create a passive way to speak to people who are 6 months out, 12 months out, 18 months out. Speak to people who aren't even in the market, but know somebody who is in the market so they could share our information with that person. And so here's what will happen. If you create enough top of the funnel awareness, you'll always have people at the bottom of the funnel because you have so many people dropping in at some point. Most people in our industry have no top of the funnel awareness. All they have is bottom of the funnel.
Yeah.
So it's just a mind shift of like, hey, I know I can't make 100 calls to people who are 18 months out. That I would be pro bono. I'd be working, for nothing. That's not going to work. But I could make a video once that speaks to all these people, and then I could do that again on Thursday, and then I could do it again next week, and I could repeat 52 weeks a year, and I could speak to these people passively. So,
Mm.
like while I'm talking to you right now on this call, Chris, I guarantee you, I'd bet any amount of money that somebody's watching one of my videos, opting into one of my funnels, and I'm working with them passively. So
Yeah.
we need to create a passive way to work with people. That's the key here. Is like I want to work. I don't know about everybody who's watching or listening. Like I want to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. I'm a hard worker, by the way, but like I want to be smarter with my time because we're not getting any freaking younger.
Oh,
What's the average? I don't know. What is Chris? What's the average age of a loan officer? Do you know?
gosh. I don't
40
even
something?
know,
It's
but
got to be
it's older
pushing
than you
late
think.
40s.
That's what I
Yeah.
was going to say, 40s.
Not enough young people are getting into this industry, which is a problem. We need to get more people in. But most of the people I see at events and workshops, things we're in their 40s, late
Yeah.
40s. That's the average loan officer. And then if not even older, I got guys in my group 50 pushing 60. That's fine. They still know what they're doing. Like they're still passionate about this industry, but you know, we're not getting any younger. So at some point we have to be working on something that's bigger than this month's numbers.
Yeah.
We need to have a goal that's bigger than just our pipeline for this month. So I love the short term, like let's get our deals done, let's get clients, let's get deals closed. Yes. At the same time, we have to be working on a bigger picture goal. And so for me and for anybody watching here, it's like if you post one video per week, 52 weeks a year, so 52 videos a year, sounds like not much when you think about it just once a week. Even that will be building your brand. So Sally in freaking Columbus, Ohio. She's a brand on the internet. And by posting 52 times a year, she has a bigger brand than all the other loan officers in her market. Because I guarantee you, the other LOs, 95, 98% of them aren't going to make 52 videos this year. So
Right.
just that one act alone is going to separate you. And then we can get into like, okay, what do you say on the videos and all that stuff, But that's the first thing is like get your head around, okay, I need to be doing something a little different this year.
Yeah, I mean, just as simple as just saying, okay, I have to do one video a week, put it in my calendar, give yourself a half an hour, and just do it.
Mhm.
You're not going to be great in the beginning, but you'll eventually get better and better. You said it, and I had my videos started off that was horrible, and then I just slowly just got better and better and better and better and better, and then you were teaching it.
Yeah. And it's going to open doors that you don't even know exist. Like, I'll just give you examples of doors that people don't know exist.
Okay.
What are the odds, somebody calls you to speak at an event and, and they don't, you just have to speak at the event. You're just happy to be there. You're speaking to realtors. That's great. That will happen. Eventually, people will pay you to speak to their groups, right? There's an additional income stream. Eventually, people will pay you to work with them and help them. Eventually you'll be recruiting. I know some people probably watching are already recruiting. Well, eventually you could recruit more people. Eventually you could, maybe another mortgage company acquires you and your team. Like,
Mm.
you think about like professional ball players, like they get traded to teams. Like some of the highest level people in mortgage, they're like that. They're stars within the mortgage industry. They're highly sought after entities within the mortgage. Like you could be that person. Don't say no for the audience. Like uh, and this is the thing is it's wide open. Like people say, Neil, it's too late. 2024, March 2024, there's still not that many people doing this, or
Right.
they're doing it wrong. So I think of it like this: I speak to tens of thousands of people a year.
Mhm.
Of all those people, 3% of them take action on what I'm doing and they do it, and I get the messages. So I get a couple hundred messages every year of people who are like, you know what, I tried what you said, it's working, thank you so much, it's changed my business, it's changed my life. I'm grateful. Those are the best messages ever. Like that gives me so much fulfillment. 7% of these people start but they quit because they give up too soon, or they weren't doing it right. And I'm going to get into like how you can do it right, but they weren't
Yeah.
doing it right, so they didn't get any results and they felt like it was a waste of time, so they just quit. But the sad truth is 90% never even start. They just listen to us and they're like, you know what, that idea about the one video week, I'm good, I'm not going to do it. And so That's the sad truth. So if we got that 10% here that's actually going to do it, let's get more into that top of the 10% category, which is like, hey, I'm doing it. I'm sticking with it. I'm getting results.
I guess I mean that just drove many different questions, which is I think we could spend hours on just that topic alone. But
Yeah.
one question that came up, which I feel like most of us need to know, is that Neil, what is the combination between maybe some things going on and posting personally, but then also work? Like, how do
Yeah.
I balance that mixture? Because I feel like you're really good at you're at a stadium, or you're here, or you're with your kids, or you're posting you're in your backyard. Uh,
Yeah.
Sometimes you tie it to a story, sometimes you don't. Like, how do I know that combination so that when this top of the funnel starts to check me out, in a sense, and start to gather information, that I have that mixture?
Yeah. So this is a great question. So you need three things: content, connection, then conversion, right?
Hmm.
So content is going to be like, what are we talking about? Business topics, and I'll give you guys ideas on what you can be posting. Okay, we can even workshop one of them live on the call if we have time. Next is going to be connection. Most people skip this step, Chris. They don't share anything personal. So what
Yeah.
do I know about Chris Vincent? Well, I know he's a sneakerhead. I know he's what teams he likes. I know I met his wife virtually on social media. I could tell he's a family guy. I can just learn these things about you. Now, how many times have we actually got to speak? Well, just a handful of times. Well, how do I know all this about Chris? Well, because he shares it on social media. So if it's all business, it's just going to get lost in the sauce. If you're a
Hmm.
personal brand, you got to say something personal as well. So you got to share personal stories. Now, I'm not telling people, hey, share your kids if you're not comfortable posting your kids on social media. I totally get it. Like, I don't want to post a bunch of pictures of my daughter on social media. So I'd share, I'm selective with what I share. But I'll tell you this, like, you have to share something. So share as much as you feel comfortable with. And I'll tell you, over time, what you feel comfortable sharing gradually goes up. The other day, I posted something. I was like, there's all these things we've been told about privacy, like, you don't want to share anything personal because why? Well, how many times you post a picture of a car, a picture of a house, and the car's in it or a thing, and then you go in to like edit the video and you black out the license plate?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand people have been doing this for years. I was told to do this by my parents. Okay, why? What is the privacy concern with someone seeing the characters of your license plate? What is going to happen? Did you know you're driving around town all day with your license plate exposed? Do you put a freaking sock over your license plate because you don't want anyone to see it? Like, I think people are just like, you've been told to fly below the radar. You've been told don't make a scene. You've been told to not talk to strangers. These are things we've been told since we've been children.
Hmm.
Especially if you're older like us.
Hmm.
So like, this is the antithesis of that. This is like, yo, put yourself out there, share everything. Nothing's off limits. So I get it.
Right.
Like, it's going to be a process, but I'll tell you what, the more you share, the more comfortable you get. And what happens is it allows people to connect with you. I don't think anybody would argue with me with this. This is a relationship business. Would you agree, Chris?
I agree 100%.
This is all about relationships. We're not Rocket Mortgage, consumer direct to consumer division. We're not Better Mortgage where you just internet portal. We are a relationship driven business. We're local boots on the ground. We have relationships with realtors. We have relationships with customers and their families and all these people. How do we scale relationships? Well, you
Yeah.
can share more about yourself. People connect with you. Like, there's going to be people who connect with you simply because of the shoes you wear, simply because of the football team you like or the baseball team you like, simply because you seem like a good dude. I mean, sometimes it's like, yo, I think I kind of want to work with that guy. He just seems like a good dude, good energy. Like
Hmm.
that. How are they supposed to know that if you never share? So I share, we got to do content, then we got to do connection, and then we can ask for business. And there's ways to ask for business in the right way. And that's the conversion piece. On the personal thing, I'll just add one more thing. You said something about stadiums. Uh, I got that lucky opportunity to go to the Super Bowl this year. First time, it's like a bucket list thing, because I'm in Vegas, first Super Bowl in Vegas. I'm like, shit, I'm going, man. Look at the tickets. I go online. The nosebleeds are 8 grand. The good tickets are like 30, 40 grand. I'm like, holy crap. Well, maybe I'm not going to the Super Bowl. Shit. I thought I was going. I wasn't going. But one of my friends kind of just kept bugging me to go. And we ended up getting a deal on tickets. And I spent $15,000 to get tickets to the Super Bowl, which I got some hate for this because someone's like, Neil, you talk about financial fit. That could be a down payment on a house. I'm like, you know what? You're right. But at a certain point, money becomes a tool. So let me just tell you really quick how I use this. So I spent $15,000 to go to Super Bowl. Now, if I just went and came home, it'd be a great bucket list experience. Probably still worth it for the memories that I created for myself. But I'm not going to leave it at that. Like, let's squeeze this thing for as much as we can. So I go to the stadium with my friends like 3 hours early. We shoot a bunch of videos in the seats, like mortgage videos, some ads for some future things, some promotions for events, workshops, leaving like room to where it could be vague. We could use it for something multiple times, like come to a workshop, but don't say the date because then you
Sure.
could use it for multiple times in the future. So we like made a bunch of content while we're there. While we're there, I'm walking into the stadium, Chris, and my buddy's behind me, and he's like, "Yo, this looks epic! Like you're just walking into the empty stadium. It looks just crazy." So he's like, "Let me film you walking in." Now, some people might say, "Oh, dude, that's kind of cheesy." Well, no, my buddy films me walking in. Okay, I take that video and I put just a song on it on thing, and I just post it while I'm sitting in the Super Bowl. Okay, when the game's just about to start.
I saw that video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I post it. Some people would say that's flexing. Well, it's not a flex if it's your real life and you're a genuine person. If you've been showing the work for years, nobody's going to be mad when you show that you're on vacation or you're at the Super Bowl. People actually congratulate you. So there's probably 100 comments from friends, family, business partners. Dude, awesome. Congrats. Wish I was there with you. That's so awesome, Neil. Have a great time at the game. Hope you enjoy it. Not one person talks shit. You know what I mean? Like, and if there was, it would be 1 out of 100. No big
Right.
deal, right? So it's all love from the people that follow you and that have been watching you.
Hmm.
When I post that video, the first comment is from this guy, Sharon. And it says, Sharon Shrivastava, "Hey, Neil, I'm right behind you. Look up." So I turn around and Sharon is sitting in the box, in my section.
Sure.
And he's like, "Neil," and he's waving. I would go up there, we take a selfie. Sharon is the CEO of Real, the publicly traded real estate brokerage with 15,000 real estate agents. Okay. He's been following my videos and we got to connect. He's like, "Yo, Neil, let's connect after the game. Hope you have a great time with your family." Cool. Like I just left. And then afterwards we chatted. We're working on something now because we connected at the game and we've been following up.
All because of that video.
Yeah, but like, what if I decided, Chris, I didn't want to post the video? Like, oh, it's weird. We may not have even connected. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so I'm making videos while I'm there. I got to connect with some high level people. There's more people I connected with. I created a bunch of memories. I made another video of the game winning play. That video goes viral because it's the Super Bowl, and there's all kinds of cool things you could do with that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter in terms of like, is this going to bring me much business right this moment? But it was like, I squeeze that thing for as much as possible. So when someone says you wasted $15,000, I'm like, man, that is a investment that's going to pay me a huge return over time. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
of the exposure. So I'm thinking somebody else is thinking on this call. They're like, well, Neil, the great story, but how am I going to, go to the Super Bowl? Well, what about when you go to the local college basketball game? What about when you go to, any kind of sporting event, your kids' things? Are you sharing anything while you're there? Because if you're not, you're saying no for the audience. And if you share it, people get a glimpse into what you're doing personally. So I would just tell people to
Yeah.
share some of these things that you're doing in your real life. You never know who's going to be watching and the connections. I have connected with so many people because I posted one video. Now it's not because they saw one video, then they watched more, then they connected with me or they shared my stuff with somebody else. But it started with that one video. And if I would have said no that day, I'm not posting the video, I may not know that person.
Right.
So, this is just something for everyone to think about is like, whatever you're doing day to day, you got to share something.
Yeah, and I think that was mistakes that I've made. Like, oh, people don't care about that, or oh, I don't want to, to your word flex or
Yeah. And
brag.
like we're in a tough market.
Yeah.
Imagine like, some of our people that we work with, our clients, and they're not doing the best this year. They've had a rough
Right.
12 months. And then you're out on a boat with your family and you're like, dang, I don't want to share this because,
Yeah.
maybe it's going to give the wrong vibe. Well, I'll tell you this, people who aren't doing well right now, they're
Mhm.
inspired by your success. And then those who are been watching you put in the work for decades at this point, they're like, "Dude, have a great time. Enjoy the time with your family, Chris." Like, that's the vibe that you want, and you'll be surprised. People will give you that as long as you're showing all the things along the way.
Hmm.
Like,
That's so good.
loan officers are notorious. They don't wanna share it when they're on vacation because they think, like, people are going to think bad and not send them business.
Mhm.
The reason why you don't wanna share you on vacation is because you never shared when you were doing the work.
Hmm.
If you shared like, "Hey, man, just put this deal together. So happy for my clients. Hey, I'm leaving the office tonight at 8. It was a rough day. I don't want to leave this late, but we were working on this big project. Can't wait to see you guys on Friday at my class." So if you've been putting in the work and sharing the journey, then you can share the rewards.
So if I did 2 videos personally a
Mhm.
week, and I did 1 to 2 videos about work, a story, I mean, we all have little fun success stories that we could share, of which we don't, of which our customer needs. But I was thinking about the realtor that has the 15,000 agents. Like, you literally just moved him from the top of the funnel all the way down quickly because of
Yeah.
that. Like, you forced him down the funnel.
Yeah. And then like, I'm not naive to say like people treat you better based on your success and things like this. So
Mhm.
there's a type of person that spends money to go to the Super Bowl. You're that type of person now, so maybe, it gives you more credibility. I don't know, but the point is he had seen my content, we got to connect, and now we have a relationship, and we're going to do some business together. But that's at the highest level. But I'm telling you, in your local market, there's a guy who runs the brokerage in your market with 23 agents or 112 agents or 213 agents. Like, that's where it started for me, was connecting with the people in Reno, Nevada. Now I'm in Las Vegas because it's a bigger market. But I
Yeah.
started off in small town Reno, Nevada, like trying to connect with the local lady who runs the Remax office. That's all I was trying to do, was
Yeah.
connect with Susan who runs the Remax office, and then the next person and the next person. And the way I was doing it was by posting a video, and then they saw my content, and then I got to connect with them. So this is where it can begin for many people. And then I just been doing it at a high level for 4 years. So now it's leading to crazy things that I didn't think were possible.
Content, connection, and conversion.
Yes.
On connection, Gary Vee. Uh, Gary Vee says paying your dues or paying the bills, which is not being taking the easy way out. I'm guilty of it, which
Yep.
is liking my customers, family, friends' posts,
Yep.
but actually commenting.
Yeah, he calls it like, I don't remember, he has a strategy around this. There's a name
Yeah.
for it, but he basically says to leave authentic comments on other people's posts, reply to their Instagram stories, and this creates a connection with them. And so here's how this works, Chris, is you post a few videos on your social media. You get your Instagram page dialed in, your Facebook page, you've got some videos posted, your image at the top looks good, your bio is dialed in, people can tell what you do for a living and how you help people. Awesome. Okay, so that's the baseline, the foundation.
Yes.
If I come to your page and it says Johnny Pants 23, it doesn't say you're a loan officer, it's got a picture of you 4 years ago, and that's it. That's not a good foundation. So first things first, let's get some videos up. Let's fix your bio. Let's get your profile picture that matches you, and it's consistent across all the profiles: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. All these things. Whatever ones you want to use, make sure you have a good, high quality profile picture of your face. It's a very small circle, by the way. So you don't want like a picture of you and your family, that, because I'm nothing against the family pictures, but you can't see it. It's just a small circle.
Right.
So it's got to be of your mug. And there's a science behind this. People connect with your eyes and all that stuff. So you've got the foundation.
Okay.
Now, what you want to do is leave genuine comments on other people's posts. And so here's where it goes wrong. Somebody's using some AI bot, and I'm all for AI, in the right way. But somebody's using an AI bot to comment on things. Yesterday, I posted a video about the NAR commission ruling that just
Okay.
happened. This is a hot button topic, so I
Oh,
wanted to
very.
talk about it. Right? I posted a video. It's doing really well for me. In the comments was a guy, and it says, "Nice property," and it gives a heart sign. So he's another loan officer who must have set up some service to auto comment on things. It's not, you know, it's not even about a house. It was about something else. Like, he was just
Right.
auto commenting on people's posts. So don't do that shit.
No,
You know,
he got caught.
Yeah, he got caught, exactly. So this needs to be real, and people are like, "I don't have time for that." Bro, it saves you time. It just take 10, 15 minutes. Like, put on the calendar, 15 minutes, I'm gonna comment to people, "My client's daughter's graduating this year. Congratulations. That's awesome."
Right.
Like, anything, just leave a comment, and then if you go into Instagram stories or Facebook stories, if you reply to someone's story, it directly opens up an instant messenger conversation with them. So
Yeah.
now if you're on Facebook, it's Messenger. If you're on Instagram, it's DMs. You have an open thread with that person just by commenting the fire emoji when they were at dinner or something, like something simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You've got this open thing, conversation with them. Now, even if they don't follow you, next time you post a video, Instagram thinks that you guys are connected because you've been DMing each other. So it's going to show them your video, even if they're not following you. So what I would do was, like, the people who I want to see my content, I would engage with them, open up conversation. Then next time I post, they're starting to see me in their feed because now we're connected. So many times it's a long-term strategy, but you could do this 15 minutes a day. You'll be surprised how it compounds over the whole year.
Right.
That's a lot of people that you've connected with. So for me, I have thousands of open conversations, but they're just little things. It's like, "Hey man, what restaurant were you at? That looks great. I want to try that out. How was the
Right.
game?" Just little quick things. And it's just being conversational, just being interested. What do they say about how to become interesting is be interested in other people,
That's
right?
right. That's right. You think about it, you want to work 50 agents in your market, and you start identifying and commenting on those 50 agents that are in your market,
Yeah.
they're going to see your stuff now.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, like, if somebody doesn't get that many comments and you leave a comment, they'd be like, "Who's this Neil guy?" They would click
Right.
on me. "Oh shit, he's got some good content." So you're driving traffic to your page. Then what's other thing is they'll get to see the mutual connections. "Oh yeah, he works with so and so. Oh, he knows my friend this guy, so now we're connected." Now, when you want to call that person, "Hey man, like, I saw we were connected on Facebook or Instagram. By the way, like, I saw you at the Giants game the other day, or I saw you at the thing, or I saw you doing this. How was that?" And then you've got something to start. It's not a cold call anymore. It's like lukewarm.
Yeah.
And then it's even warmer if they've been watching your videos.
Mm.
Then they're like, "Dude, you know how the warmest call is when you call somebody and they're like, 'Neil, bro, I love your content.'" We just went from 0 to freaking top of the mountain as far as rapport.
For
And
sure.
and that is the first call I'm making to them. Like, that's pretty cool. You already have rapport with them. Like, "Dude, I love your content." That's great. So now you've just bypassed every other LO in your market. And so this is the cheat
Mhm.
code. I mean, like, we talk a lot about all the different strategies. I'm telling you guys right now, this is a freaking cheat code for business. It is. If anybody wants the shortcut, the silver bullet, the pill, this is it, man. If you do it properly, if you stick
Mm.
with it, you know. Somebody told me, "Oh, I tried it, didn't work." And look, you tried it for a week, bro. Like, give it some time. It takes time. But if
That's
you stick
right.
with it, it works.
Last week, Neil, I was talking to a group of loan officers, and I talked about tying your shoe. And
Yeah.
it just totally goes exactly with everything you're saying. So, Neil, you're walking down the road and your shoe becomes untied. What do you do?
You tie it. You sit down and tie it.
But why would you tie it? It didn't work the first time.
Yeah, because freaking you don't want to trip, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But loan officers say something, well, it didn't work. But you don't think about retying your shoe. You just stop, retie your shoe. You might double knot it. You might make a little bit of a change, but you just don't think about it. You just do it because you know eventually it's going to work. What
Yeah.
if they took tying a shoe to these concepts that you're talking about, contact, connection, and then conversion,
Yeah.
and just keep tying your shoe? It's going to work.
It will. Yeah. That's the crazy part, is like, you just have to stay with it and not, you know, where else would you expect to be good at something right away? I haven't played tennis in a while. I always wanted to be a good tennis player. But when
Mm.
I go on the court, I kind of suck. I'm not mad at the game, like, "Yo, this sucks. I should have been freaking great day one." No, you're like, "Okay, I gotta play more. I gotta work more." And
Yeah.
you're fine with it. Everywhere else in life, you're fine with not being good right out the gate. But here, for some reason, people expect results right away, or they quit. And so it's just at some point, it just becomes about attrition. Who's going to
Mm.
stay with it? You don't even have to be that good. Just by the reps, you're going to get better. Are you
Yeah.
going to keep showing up and being effective? Don't waste your time. Like, I see people who create an account just to talk crap. Like I see people posting jokes about the industry
Mhm.
or about consumers, making fun of the customer.
Mm.
Like this, you have to realize, like, is that inviting anybody into this business? Is that inviting people to reach out to you? No, it's, you have to realize, like, what's your energy, what's your tone on social. And yeah, can you share an industry joke once in a while? Sure. But the goal is to, make people comfortable to reach out to you.
Hmm. Lastly, conversion.
Yeah.
What are we going to do to be able to have the best opportunity for conversion in this strategy? We talked about content, we
Yeah.
talked about connection,
This is
and now we're
important. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
conversion.
Everybody wants to get paid, ring the register, right? So how do we
Right.
get more deals? So what you have to realize is the person on social media, there's two types of clients that are watching your stuff. They've been watching it. Now they need help. They want to move forward. So they're like, hey, Neel, been watching your content. I'm actually thinking about buying a house, or we're actually starting the process. Would love to get pre-approved. Like, or I heard, what's my first step? I want to get going. Those are great because they've already dropped to the bottom of the funnel. They're ready to go. This
Mhm.
happens, but it doesn't happen enough, especially in a slow market. So this used to happen a lot when things were just people are flying off the seat to buy a house. Today we're in a little bit of a different market. So that happens, but it just doesn't happen as often. What is more common, Chris, is there's a bunch of people, like I said, who are one or two questions, one or two steps away from starting the process.
Mm.
So what you need to do is create a step in the middle.
Mm.
The left side is the customer. The right side is them ready to start the pre-approval process and let's get them into a deal. We're used to just waiting over here with a basket for them to just come over here and we'll just be ready for you when you're ready.
Mm.
But what happens is if you create a step in the middle, people will take that step. They're just not going to make the whole journey on their own right now. Some people will, and that's where we make our money. But there's a lot more people who just would be willing to just go halfway. So
Mm.
what's the halfway look like? Well, if I were to say we had 100 people in this room right now, and I were to say, give them information about the market, tell them about the opportunity of homeownership, give them all the details of what you need to do when you're buying a house. At the end of that presentation, I said, hey guys, um, I'm going to stay afterwards to do some pre-approvals. If you want to sit down with me and go through it with my team and I, we'll get going and we'll start this process and get you on the path to buying a house. How many of you'd like that? Some hands would go up. I would say like 5, 6 hands would go up out of the room, and then we'd start. That's great. But if I changed it around and said something like this, I said, hey, so what we covered today, I actually put it in a guide for you, and it's going to give you all the things you need to know, plus some things that we didn't even cover today on what you need to know to get a good deal in today's market, how to structure your deal, and how to really win in this process. And then if you'd like to move forward, we're just a phone call or email away. But how many of you would like that free guide? 70
Right.
of that 100 hands would go up versus 7 if you just had a step at the end. So that guide is your step in the middle. You doing a free webinar call where you go over the market and the opportunities you're seeing in this market and how to structure your deal is a step in the middle. You doing a webinar on how to use the 2-1 buy down program to get a house today with last year's interest rate. That's the step in the middle. You going over these new non-QM programs, whatever it is. Like, it's got to be education or some free advice in the middle, because they'll say yes to that. But now what we've got is we've got them to raise their hand.
Mhm.
Now what happens is you give them that information, they're much more willing to take the next step, which is start the process with you. So what I do is I'll put out the video. It'll say something like, um, here's an opportunity I'm seeing in today's market. Interest rates were headed down, but then they spiked a little bit. Every time rates spike up, we by 1% or more, we lose about 3 to 5 million buyers. So what's crazy about this is it creates an opportunity if you're thinking about buying a house where you can get seller credits, you can negotiate a better price because you're not competing with another buyer. Now, this is just one strategy that I think is really important for you to know. I put 9 more. So a total of 10 of my best strategies into a free guide. If you want it, just comment the word home below and I'll send it to you. And so I did this, and there's hundreds, for me, of people commenting the word home. Realtors want to check it out too because they're like, what is he doing? But mostly from consumers.
Hmm.
And so I do this every week. Some posts I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads. Sometimes I get, just a handful. If you're new to this, maybe you get 6.
Right.
But next week you might get 12, and it compounds. So what's cool about this is Now they get this guide, and I use automation and AI and old technology to send it to them automatically, so I don't have to do shit.
Right.
That we can get into on another call. But the point is, if you're only getting 3 or 4 in the beginning, it's easy. You can have your team send it to them. It's no big deal. You can shoot them a DM, get their email address, add them to your database, and send them a thing. Now they've got this free thing of information from you, plus they raise their hand. So in that guide, it tells them the information, tells them to move forward with us and how they can move forward. We can also follow up. If I want to have my team follow up on leads, we could reach out to them. Hey, just want to make sure you got the guide. Did you have any questions? We're happy to help. Actually, on Thursday, Neil's doing pre-approval calls with people to put together their strategies for the
Mm.
market. We've got 4 slots. If you want to grab one of those, let us know. Like now, they're much more willing to take one of those slots because we gave them some free information.
You totally meeted him in the halfway.
Yeah. So all you
Everything
just
you're
need to
doing, you're
do,
just meeting him right in the halfway.
yeah, just imagine when you met your spouse. Like you wouldn't try and close. I mean, some of you guys probably try and close the first date, but like you would probably want to take them out, some
Right.
conversation. Let's have a coffee. Let's have some like romance. That's what the client needs today,
They need romance.
especially in a market, Chris, where people are very uncertain. I mean, people are scared. High
Mhm.
rates, low inventory. What's going on with the market? Inflation. Should I buy a house? Is it too expensive? Am I overpaying? Just go to ChatGPT or Gemini, which used to be Bard, and say, what are the top reasons that millennials are scared to buy real estate today? And it will tell you all of their concerns. These are the things that are on your customer's mind. And so you need to give them some guidance. So people need our help more than ever today.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't need us 2 years ago when rates are 3%.
No.
It was a no-brainer. It was like, buy a house. Like, cool, everyone's buying it. I'm interested. Rates are low. Let's go. That's a no-brainer. Today, it's not a no-brainer. It's like they need some help. They need some guidance, hand-holding. And these are the steps you can provide. So when someone is probably thinking to themselves, they're like, well, I don't have that guide. Well, don't overthink it. You can type it out. You can just literally type out your top things. You can then save it as a PDF. Like it doesn't have to be this thing. Now, if you want to make a nice graphic, you can ask your marketing team. Even some companies have these for you.
Mhm.
If you want to check out one of my guides, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. So just go to Instagram right now, type in Neel Home, Neelhome, go to message and just send me a DM saying, I'd love to learn more about your marketing guide or just type in this guide. I'll tell you what, simply guide. And I'll shoot you over some sample information.
That's so
But
awesome.
I'll help anybody with this, and then you could copy mine. I don't care. But the point is you need some sort of step in the middle, and then how you drive people to that is with your videos. So give them some information, and then tell them if they want more of it, comment the word. The reason why I say this, just wrapping up on this conversion piece, the reason why I tell them exactly what to do, I found, Chris, that people on social are not in their brightest peak intelligence that they're ever in. You're kind of like tired, you're just scrolling. Maybe you're just in the mode of just wanting entertainment,
Mhm.
maybe infotainment can fall into that, but you're not like jumping out of your seat with energy. So you want to make it very easy for them. So
Yeah.
you need to tell them specifically what you're going to give them and specifically how to get it. So I'll give you an example of something vague. Hey, if you're thinking about buying a house and you want some more information, just feel free to shoot me a message, or click the link in my bio and you could book a call with us. Like this is just like, yeah, it's kind of like 4 or 5 steps to get to you. And I don't really know if I'm ready for that conversation yet. A
Mhm.
specific one would be like, I have this guide that will tell you how to not overpay for a house in today's market.
Wow, that's
If
good.
if you want the guide, comment this word below. By the way, the word needs to be easy to spell,
Sure.
right? It should be home. Like I tried one pre-qualify, nobody freaking commented because it's too hard to type pre-qualify. I mean, these are just psychology things. Like make it so easy. You know how people want the easy button?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Like I'm at right now, if you order food, you don't want to call the restaurant. You just want to push buttons on your phone and the food arrives at your door, like DoorDash and Uber Eats. You don't want to call a taxi. You just want to we can push buttons on Uber and it comes to the door. People want the easy button. Now I understand getting a mortgage and getting a house isn't easy, but the first step can be.
Sure.
This very first step can be very easy. So remove all the friction, tell them specifically what you're going to help with and how they can get it. And
Love
then
that.
you'll see people just do it. You'll see so many more people do it.
Hmm. Guys, I hope you're loving this. I want to cover one more thing with Neil, but I mean, just to break that down to connection, content connection, and conversion, and simply be thinking about it one post, a business at a minimum a week, and then adding in your personal. Just think about all of that, what that's going to do. But lastly, like I'm listening to this call, Neil, and I want more. I want to get involved. I want to learn. Like, let's talk about forward. Let's
Yeah.
talk about what you're doing for loan officers, and then let's end it with your amazing event that you're doing in July.
Yeah. So if you guys want to learn more about this stuff, just go to Instagram, Neil Home, and shoot me a message and just say grow, the word grow, and I will shoot you over some information. Okay. I've got video hooks that I could send you. I've got, ideas on how you can start doing these videos. And then if you really want to go next level, we have a group with, hundreds of loan officers and realtors from all across the country, all focused on doing content better. And we meet every other Tuesday on Zoom. And we also give you video ideas every month. And then we walk you through how to do all these different types of posts. There's different types of posts that are doing well on Instagram. We show you how to do them. And then 6 months from now, there's probably gonna be something new. And we'll show you how to do that too. So it's a group that's ongoing. It's not a static thing. We're always updating and giving you new advice. So if anybody wants to join that group, I'll send you the information on that. Just shoot me a message on Instagram. And then we can get going with that. But yeah, that's the group. And I love helping LOs do this. Like it sounds kind of cheesy, but like at this point in my career, the fulfillment I get from helping people grow their business is actually more like impactful to me than even getting more business and closing more deals. I love closing deals and landing that stuff, but this has been like next level for me because my passion is creating content, like figuring out how to grab people's attention and how to get them to start the process with us. It's like a video game for me. How
Yeah,
do we figure this out? And so when I say passion, I'm like, dude, this shit keeps me up at night. Like I'm so excited about it. I love teaching this stuff. So if anybody wants to learn, happy to help them. And then for our event every summer in July in Las Vegas, we do a huge event. It's called the Forward Event. We haven't yet rolled it out this summer. It's coming in the next couple weeks. So just stay tuned. I'm going to be posting about this on Instagram, but we're about to roll this out in 2 weeks. And this is going to be our biggest and best event yet. It's going to be insane. So it's July 12th and 13th in Vegas. And I'm going to roll it out in the next couple weeks.
that's so cool. I can't wait to be involved in that. I'm excited for this event. Teresa sent me an email and I
Yeah.
said, yes, we got to figure out a way to work with Neil, figure out a way to be involved in that event because that is so cool. Neil, thank you. Look, if you need more information, Neil's basically just said, reach out. This is what you want to do, but please go to his DM and send him a message that says grow. You're on this call because you want to be better. And the one thing about Neil is he wants to help you be better. And these are the next secret steps to being able to grow your business. Thanks, Neil, for coming on. I truly appreciate you. You teach me something. I got 2 pages of notes of things that you just like spark my brain. Like, Chris, you got to go do this. So
Yeah.
thanks for that, man.
Thanks for everything you do, man. And I just want to say this for everybody watching. Like, I connected with Chris just a couple months ago. This guy is one of the realest people in this industry. He has such a great heart. He wants to help people. That's why he does this call. And so, man, I just appreciate, like, I think real recognize real, like I appreciate how just genuine of a person you are and how you want to help the industry. As I've learned more about you, like all the people in our group that have worked with you in the past or were in coaching with you in the past, they all have great things to say about you. And you know what I think, Chris? Our brand is what people say about us when we're not in the room.
So true.
And people have great things to say about you. I'm trying to do the same thing for myself. So I just wanted to say thanks for all the things you're doing for our industry, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Have a great day.
All right. See you,
Thank you.
man.